The story begins with a simple divide. There are humans and there are magicians, and for years, that divide has held an uneasy peace. That peace ends when the magician's king declares war on humanity, unleashing monstrous creatures and dark sorcery, crushing every army that stands against him. One by one, kingdoms fall, until he comes face to face with King Uther, whose enemies have all underestimated one thing: a sword unlike anything else in the world. The moment Uther draws it, the magician king's powers mean nothing. He's defeated outright, and the war ends in an instant. Peace doesn't last long. Soon after, Uther's own brother turns against him, hungry for the throne. He raises an army, fully aware that no force on earth can match Uther while that sword exists, so instead, he turns to something far darker. He sacrifices his own wife in a forbidden ritual and transforms himself into something no longer entirely human. Uther uncovers the plot just in time to flee with his wife and infant son, but a demonic creature finds them in the night and kills the queen before he can stop it. With no other option, Uther places his baby son in a small boat and sends him off alone down the river, then turns to face the demon himself. As the fight reaches its peak, the screen cuts away, and everything points to one grim outcome: the king is dead. That baby eventually washes up in London, where a group of women find him and bring him to an orphanage, raising him with no idea who he really is. Back at the castle, Uther's brother has seized the throne and begun rebuilding an ancient tower, the very source of the magician king's original power, desperate to claim that strength for himself. Though he was never a magician by birth, he spent his youth around them, quietly learning everything he could about magic. 20 years pass. He's grown into a ruthless, fully realized tyrant. Meanwhile, that abandoned baby, Arthur, has grown up too, raised among thieves and pickpockets on the streets. The life made him sharp and resourceful. He helps the people around him who need it, while never being above bending the law himself when it suits him. Across the kingdom, the new king's tower finally nears completion. As it happens, the stream surrounding his castle suddenly runs dry, revealing something buried beneath the water: a sword driven straight through a human-shaped block of stone. Soldiers try everything to pull it free. Even the king himself can't move it an inch. Desperate, he summons men from every corner of his territory, ordering each of them to try their luck. Around this time, Arthur gets caught up in a street brawl, and he and his friends are arrested. Soldiers load them onto a boat, and without realizing it, Arthur is being delivered straight to the doorstep of his own father's castle. He has no memory of any of this, no idea this place means anything to him at all, but when the guards order him to try the sword just like everyone else, he steps forward and grips the hilt without hesitation. The second his hand touches it, fragments of his old life come rushing back, and he feels the sword's power surge through him like nothing he's ever experienced. He pulls it free, but the strength inside it is far more than he can control, and he collapses on the spot. Word spreads instantly: this is no ordinary thief. This is Uther's son, the rightful, long-lost king, and the kingdom, castle included, belongs to him by blood. He's the one who finally moved a sword nobody else could touch. News of his return spreads like wildfire, and the people erupt with hope, turning against the man who's ruled them through fear for 2 decades. The king doesn't waste time. He visits Arthur in his cell personally, alongside a mysterious sorceress secretly working against him from the inside. His message is simple and brutal: stand in front of the people, declare that you can't actually control the sword, that you're not fit to be king, or every single one of your friends dies. The crowd gathers, buzzing with excitement to finally see their true king wield his sword. But the moment arrives, and Arthur refuses to give them the show his uncle demanded. He won't risk his friends to satisfy a crowd. Furious, the king orders him executed on the spot. That's when the sorceress, known simply as the mage, steps in, using her powers to turn every animal nearby into a weapon, unleashing total chaos and tearing into the king's soldiers. In the confusion, Arthur's friends free him, and the group leaps into the river with the sword still in hand, escaping into the current. The second Arthur grips the blade again, he's overwhelmed and faints once more. This time, the mage uses her own magic on the sword and discovers something important. Arthur has no memory of who he really is. Her solution is to send him somewhere far more dangerous, a shadowy realm that neither humans nor magicians can normally survive, hoping the experience will finally restore everything he's forgotten. Inside, Arthur is forced to fight his way past monster after monster, eventually reaching the tower at its center. The moment he arrives, the sword begins glowing, and his memory comes flooding back completely. He sees the truth at last. His father, Uther, was losing badly against the demonic night creature, and in one final desperate move, hurled the sword through the air, only to be struck by it himself in the chaos. Uther dies on the spot, his body turning instantly to stone, sinking into the water below. By the time his brother's men arrive looking for the sword, it's already gone, carried off downriver along with the boat carrying baby Arthur. Now fully aware of who he is, Arthur starts training seriously with the blade, though he's still far from a master. As they make their way back, the mage finally tells him the full story. Humans and magicians, she explains, lived in real peace once, until Uther's own brother shattered it, hungry for power and willing to ally himself with a magician to get it. Together, they plotted Uther's death and unlocked the tower's dark power, which is exactly how he kept winning battle after battle. In response, Uther destroyed the mage's tower, the true source of magical power in the land, and bound the sword directly to his own bloodline using his blood, meaning only Uther, his son, or their direct descendants could ever truly wield it. There's also a ticking clock. The more the new tower is rebuilt, the stronger his brother becomes, and once it's fully restored, not even the sword may be enough to stop him. Arthur and his companions reach out to one of the most powerful families left in Britain, complete with their own private army and stockpiles of weapons. With some clever persuasion, Arthur convinces them he's ready to actually be king, and from there, the plan becomes clear: stop that tower from ever being completed. The group splits up. Some of Arthur's allies sabotage a ship carrying raw materials meant for the tower, sinking it and cutting off the supply line entirely. Others slip into the city and set the king's castle ablaze. Arthur himself sets his sights on ending his uncle once and for all, but walks straight into a trap. His uncle saw this coming and planted a decoy disguised to look exactly like Arthur. When the real assassin moves to fire an arrow at the decoy, Arthur tries to stop him. Too late. The arrow flies, and it ends up killing the king's most trusted commander instead. Chaos erupts through the streets as guards swarm in, beating the mage and chasing down anyone in their path. Seeing her in danger, Arthur finally draws the sword and cuts down every soldier in his way in a single, decisive strike. But the cost is steep. The king personally captures one of Arthur's closest companions and kills him right in front of Arthur, making sure he watches. Devastated, Arthur gets the rest of his friends to safety by boat, and in his grief and fury, hurls the sword into the water, done with all of it. That's when the Lady of the Lake appears, the legendary fairy who dwells beneath the water, and catches the sword the instant it sinks. She pulls Arthur down into the lake with her and shows him a vision, a glimpse of exactly what happens if he keeps the sword's power but never finishes the fight against his uncle. The result is total devastation. The world itself falls apart. She urges him to trust both the mage and the sword, and finally hands it back to him. Arthur surfaces and reconnects with his men, who tell him support for his cause is spreading fast. More and more people want him as their rightful king. But there's bad news too. The king's forces have captured several of his allies, including people close to the mage, and the commander makes it brutally clear: surrender or watch them die. After agonizing over it, Arthur sends the sword over to his uncle as a show of good faith, promising to meet him in person soon. His uncle, believing Arthur is now powerless without the blade, lets the mage go free, not realizing she immediately casts a powerful protective spell over Arthur before they part ways. Arthur walks straight into his father's old castle to face his uncle directly. The king wastes no time. He draws Excalibur himself, fully intending to kill his nephew with his own father's sword. But this is exactly what the mage planned for. Using her magic, she sends a snake straight at him. In his panic to defend himself, he strikes it with the sword itself, and the blade gets lodged immovably into a stone pillar, impossible for anyone but Arthur to remove again. With that threat neutralized, the mage unleashes something far bigger, massive serpents tearing through the castle grounds, while Arthur's army storms the gates simultaneously. Realizing he's about to lose everything, the king flees back to the same cave where it all started decades ago, calling on the demonic night creature once more, and transforms completely into its monstrous form. Arthur, meanwhile, finally frees the sword and strides back out to face him, cutting down every masked guard sent against him with ease, while the rest of the king's forces drop their weapons and surrender on the spot. What follows is the final, decisive battle. Now fully transformed and terrifyingly powerful, the Demon King overwhelms Arthur completely, repeating, almost word for word, the same chilling line he once said to Uther in his final moments. Arthur, dazed and on the verge of defeat, has a flash of memory. His father's final fight, the exact same words, the exact same trap. It clicks instantly. The sword has always belonged to him. That realization floods him with fury, but he understands something crucial in the same breath. Rage alone won't win this fight. Mastering the sword means mastering himself first. Once he reigns in his anger and fights with calm precision instead, everything changes. Excalibur blazes with renewed power, and even as his own weapon shatters mid-fight from the sheer force of the clash, Arthur keeps striking relentlessly until the demonic form finally breaks apart, leaving his uncle human again, dying right there on the ground. With the threat finally gone, Arthur channels the sword's full power to bring the entire tower crashing down, erasing the source of all that stolen strength for good. Peace returns to the kingdom, and Arthur is crowned king at last. He raises the sword high for everyone to see, and the crowd erupts in celebration. Watching quietly from a distance, the mage allows herself a rare moment of satisfaction. Her mission is finally complete. The sword has found its rightful hands at last. And that's where the story ends. Hope you enjoyed this one. Drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments.